teams in this division, like I said, to contend with a team like Dendy's Jungle Devos. So.
Yeah. Yeah, so with that said, I went ahead and let the teams know that we are ready to go, and in fact, looks like the teams are obliging. They're also ready to go, starting the load up, I should say, and going to be loading into what is the game lobby here, then eventually the game itself, of course. So, with that said, Mr. Tralfamador, are you yourself good to go?
I'm ready.
I'm
pumped for a good game.
Yes, we need a good game. Let's just hope, again, that these two teams give us that as far as this game goes. So we are loaded into the game. All right, let's make this official. Game number 1, PUDG taking on OTP. Let's jump in. As you can see, we got OTP, a.k.a. One Trick Pony. They're going to be on the Legion side. PUDG, a.k.a. Dendy's Jungle Devos on the Hellborn side. Both of these teams are fully tagged up, ready to go. I love that. I love that. I love that. That's definitely a pet peeve of mine. I'm sure by now you know. But it's awesome seeing both of these teams fully tagged up, looking like the great teams that they are. So, again, expecting a solid matchup here. We'll see how it kicks off in game number 1. The blind band's taking place. Keeper of the Forest and a Wild Soul coming out from our Legion team. Ophelia and Jeriziah taken care of by PUDG. So what do you make of that, Trev?
Yeah, I had to reconnect there. I had some issues there. It didn't let me go right in the game. So I'll look on your screen. Keeper of the Forest and Wild Soul from Legion. That's kind of funny to me because those are like two of the heroes I feel like are strongest right now in the metagame, or at least, very, very strong and picked up quite frequently. And they are first position, so that kind of strikes me a little bit crazy. But, you do have other heroes to work with, too. You have Fade, you have Ophelia, which, by the way, was banned. No surprise there, Jeriziah as well. Now moving into the locks, Bubbles. That's a hero that I've talked about a little bit. I'm surprised that this hero is not blind banned, to be honest. We see it in so many different games. It's used in many different ways. You can solo short, you can solo mid, you can suicide, with great success in all of those aspects. It is locked right here, and, well, maybe OTP is looking to get that as a first pick. But follow-up locks here are the Warbeast and a Plague Rider.
Yeah, that's definitely what makes this. Well, it's at least one part of what helps make Lockpick an interesting mode. Because, I mean, as you said right there, yeah, Bubbles is no doubt a hero that you can value as even being blind ban worthy. But in the end, you only have 2 blind bans yourself, and it has a chance to be max and 4 in total. But as we've seen, I mean, they can even overlap. And so sometimes we only have 3, if not even 2 bans going into the Lockpick stage. So there are so many, top tier heroes. Your Fades, your Keeper of the Forest, your Wild Soul, your Ophelias, your Jeriziahs. We see all here. So it definitely can make things, difficult for the teams as far as who they want to ultimately ban. But in the end, several of those heroes, many of those heroes, in fact, are going to be left open going to the lock pool stage. So here we are, though, the lock pool completed. So as you talked about the first 3, Bubbles, Warbeast, Plague Rider. That is followed up by Aluna, Glacius, and Tempest. So very strong lock pool here. Has a mix of jungle, the suicide potential, and some strong support on top of that.
Yeah, that's pretty standard right now in this metagame. Locking things that are a little bit safe. We have seen time to time of teams kind of locking to screw the other team, but I feel like that phase is over. I think when you kind of go that route, it's like you're screwing yourself too, and teams don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So seeing those safe heroes in that lock pool, like your suicide heroes like Bubbles, Tempest, Plague Rider, also some strong, maybe jungles as well as strong supports, being all the jungles and supports you see right there. It's a very safe lockpick, so
yeah,
pretty standard.
Yeah, nothing too much to go further on as far as that's concerned. Amphora, Dark Lady, Tundra, Silhouette, and Fade so far are going to be the bans. And again, just like you said for the lock pool, this is looking like your really standard game here, Trev, as far as all 3 phases that have so far happened. The final ban going to be coming out from Mega Bever. I always say Mega Beaver, Mega Bever.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, I talk to him every now and then. I mean, you have a Skype and everything, but I've never actually directly asked him what it is. So I would be curious. You know what? Here. Is it Mega Beaver? No, you know what? He's drafting. I can't distract him. What am I doing? I'll call him Mega Bever for now. But
I feel like I've called him to his face Mega Beaver. I don't think he cares.
And he probably doesn't care in the end. I know it's probably.
But also Fitzke. His real name is, it looks like love, L-O-V-E, but I think in Swedish it's pronounced like Löwe or something like that. In 6 minutes, of course, I'm gonna be called.
Gonna be wrong.
Yeah. How could you disgrace our language like that?
Yeah, there's some fun player names like that. Like Fine's another one. I used to call him Fane all the time. Anyways, enough of that the final ban was sure enough Pebbles, and that opened up a first pick Hammerstorm coming out here from OTP. Is this Slicks over here? I mean, where did Hammerstorm come from?
Hammerstorm's actually quite strong. You can run him in a number of different ways. What I hate seeing him run as a roaming support. You can do it. I see a lot of the Asian teams actually do it, like Orange Esports. They run that from time to time. But I really do think that Hammerstorm has potential in the late game. I mean, he dishes out a lot of damage, and yeah, I think he's fine.
Both of these teams going something a little bit different. Yeah, again, I agree. Obviously, Hammerstorm, a very powerful hero, and has his potential. It's just nowadays on the competitive scene, you don't usually expect to see him that first pick material at least. First pick here, but how about the response coming out from PUDG? Profit, not so much as a surprise. Again, this is a hero, one of the 6 new heroes that were eligible as a result of HoN Tour starting. We expected to start seeing him start pick up, and eventually by the time DreamHack rolls around, I wouldn't be surprised if he's a go-to support. But Dampier, now that's something a little bit curveball-ish, a little bit different here, coming out from Dendy's Jungle Devo. So Dampier, in his own right, a strong hero. Obviously, he is a snowballing effect hero. We've seen him at least once before here in this HoN Tour event, even the qualifiers, from what I recall. But not a usual pickup. What do you make of the Dampier pick, Trev?
We've talked about Dampier specifically. He plays like a Pebbles. His bursty spells have very low cooldown. He's like a Pebbles, except he can sustain himself in team fights a little bit longer because of those 2 spells that do gain life. And for that reason, he can be played a little bit differently. He can be played a little bit more effectively, I think, in a team fighting role. Now, if you couple him up with a Prophet, like if you do like a Prophet Dampier lane, I mean, that's already quite strong. But look over here on OTP. They go with Forsaken Archer and Parasite. And that might tell me that Hammerstorm could be playing that support role, which I think, it's okay. I don't prefer it. But when you have that composition, the Parasite, Forsaken Archer, Hammerstorm, that's pretty strong. That's very CC heavy, lots of damage, and you can try lane aggressively if they want to.
It's kind of like the Magbus idea, where, Magbus, he can play that role. We've seen it from time to time, but it may not be preferred in the end, but it's looking like that could be possible. As you said, if they do run kind of a pseudo tri lane, it's a very aggressive one at that. Now, PUDG going different here. They go with not only the Dampier pick, but Soul Reaper on top of that. Again, in case he has potential, by all means, and we've seen him recently here on HoNcast, but not your usual go-to pickup. But PUDG, Dendy's Jungle Devos, they're going a little bit different here, and making things interesting. Warbeast is going to be the first pick out of that lock pool from One Trick Pony. The response from PUDG is so far Tempest, and there you go with the Bubbles final pick. So let's look at PUDG over there. Their 5-man roster. What do you make of it, Trof?
It's kind of interesting. I'll tell you, I love Soul Reaper. I think Soul Reaper has a place in this metagame. I really do. Especially when so many people are running Suicides. That hero crushes Suicides. Whether it can be Keeper of the Forest. We saw that a long time ago with the returners. And I can't remember who they played. I want to say it was TT Esports, actually. Yeah. And they ran a Soul Reaper against the Suicide Keeper. And Suicide Keeper seems to be one of those heroes that's like, what do you do against it? Well, you run Soul Reaper.
You max out the aura. Or not max it out, but level up the aura.
You can max it, but you don't even have to.
Yeah.
And Soul Reaper just dominates in a 1v1 setting. Now, 1v2 is another story, but how often do we see teams man up? Well, it might actually be this time because of the heroes composition we have, but actually, no, because they have Parasite and Warbeast.
That is interesting.
So are we going to see a Suicide Warbeast?
Huh.
Maybe.
Didn't see that coming. I mean, you figure if they want a Suicide, then Plague Rider was on the board, so... that's interesting. I mean, Plague Rider synergized as well with this team. You got a Forsaken Archer, a Hammerstorm can set up very nicely for him. So the Warbeast pickup is definitely a stretch here for OTP, and I'm very curious, as I'm sure you are, to see how they decide to run him. Are we going to see a double jungle strat? I mean, is that a possibility here?
I don't know.
Interesting.
They could maybe. I mean, trying to think. Maybe Suicide Parasite used to be used, but that was when his deny effect happened on his creeps at level 1. Yeah. And so you can't do that anymore. So. The only thing I can think of maybe is a Suicide Warbeast. And then you'd have maybe a solo Luna, and then a Forsaken Archer Hammerstorm lane, or you could solo the FA and have an Luna Hammerstorm with a farming Hammerstorm. That might work. So you could go like Warbeast solo bottom, aggressive tri-lane top with a Luna Hammerstorm and Parasite, and then a solo mid Forsaken Archer. Now, seeing the items already on Forsaken Archer with a Guardian Ring, usually that's an indicator that they're going to go in the side lane, so they can buy that quick Ring of the Teacher.
Yeah, she is headed towards the bottom lane as well. Again, obviously that adjustments can be made, but good point to bring up with the Guardian Ring purchase. So probably not going to see her middle unless they realize something that PUDG is doing, and then as a result of that, they want to maybe try to switch things up. But yeah, this is going to be something from OTP. And again, it does go back to it's one of those things where we're going to have to keep that in mind, the hindsight factor of they have the option to pick up Plague Rider over War Beast and maybe could have fit the lanes a little bit stronger, a little bit more routine, I should say. But hey, you know, if OTP, if they can make this work, this has potential to be a strong lineup, no doubt. I mean, War Beast by all means, powerful hero. And if he is able to actually get a decent farm earlier on, heading into that mid to late game stage eventually, then this Legion lineup over here very, very, very deadly going into the later game stage. So that's the good news for OTP. As far as PUDG is concerned, their lineup very unique in itself, no doubt, but their lanes are a lot more obvious, at least from my point of view when you look at it. You know, I see obviously Soul Reaper going the Guardian Ring, so same example there. Probably going to go to the side lane, probably top. You got Bubble Suicide. I'm guessing it's going to be a Dampier Prophet mid maybe, and then Tempest in their own jungle. So we will see though. We'll see where they decide to go.
Yeah, probably Soul Reaper. I mean, yeah, already he has the Guardian Ring, so probably going to be going that solo top. And I just talked about this. I mean, they seem to like the lane, dual lane mid, very strong dual lane mid that wins, that doesn't lose a lane. Now Dampier Prophet could be strong. I mean, it is going to be strong, but say if they had a dual lane mid of their own with, say, a Luna Hammerstorm, I feel like that might even be stronger. So that's kind of iffy. That's why the Dampier pick I'm not sold on. I'm sold on everything else, but the Dampier pick is kind of not quite there for me.
Yeah. Yeah, so obviously Pebbles was the final ban. In fact, it was banned by them too. So they could have left Pebbles open and maybe gone for him instead, but they decided to ban him, not wanting to risk maybe OTP getting in and going for Dampier instead. The reason why I'm bringing up Pebbles, obviously, is, you know, Dampier is kind of a similar style of hero in the sense of the snowball effect, the burst damage that he puts out with combo of his abilities. Yeah, and again, this Dampier hero, he is a scary hero, both in the avatar and in the sense that he will do some damage to you and he will burst you down very quickly. Especially if he gets a decent farm early on, and really more so even the levels. I mean, he gets that Q of his maxed out with that Terrorize on top of the Vampiric Flight, and there's a lot of damage that's going to be coming out. So, yeah, that's the thing that no doubt OTP will have to look out for. We'll have to keep in mind as this game progresses. Obviously, sitting in a pause here, as you see OTP, there's one issue over there, but it looks like they are ready to go now, and as is PUDG. So resume. Here we go, the GLHFs. And we are good to go. So, laning phase, as always, of course, how we're going to start the game. Interested, especially from the Legion side, how they're going to do it. You do see Forsaken Archer heading towards bottom. Parasite going the mana potions. The Mark of the Novice heading mid right now. Maybe going to eventually head top. You have Luna going mid. Luna actually getting 4 minor totems and a Pretender's Crown. So, Hammerstorm going to support. Interesting. Luna's going to be the farming over Hammerstorm. What do you make of that?
I don't like that at all. Huh. It does look like we might see a Suicide War Beast, which can be done if you do pull the creeps correctly. I will say, against Soul Reaper, regardless, he's going to get decimated. He's going to get pretty much shit on. Now, bottom lane for Forsaken Archer, it looks like he might be going up. I think they're just roaming down here just to get that ward off, and then they're going to set up their lanes accordingly. Probably that Prophet and the Dampier mid, Suicide Bubbles bottom, Tempest in the jungle. Yeah, this lane is fine. I mean, Hammerstorm Aluna is very, very strong, but you can't put your farm on the guy that has to harass. Yeah. Hammerstorm can't harass. It's just silly. It should make more sense that the ranged hero, the one who can only do the only one that can do the harassing, really, you can't put him on farm. Especially when Hammerstorm I just talked about, that's a hero we've seen potential that has that can late game carry very effectively.
I mean, you know, if this was maybe Behemoth Aluna, then maybe I would kind of see the reasoning there, but even so, I mean, getting a quick portal key on Behemoth can never be a bad thing. So, yeah, it throws me off, too, the fact that as Nui here playing the Hammerstorm, he's going to be playing the support role, and as you said, for the fact that his harassment chance is going to be a lot more lower, and I mean, granted, Storyfooter playing this Aluna, I mean, and Aluna is a hero. I mean, you know firsthand, of course, that Aluna's a hero that can definitely get very powerful and really use that farm. But you know, is it gonna be maximized because of how the setup is going? And you know, will it be more efficient in the end than the Hammerstorm if he was to farm it? You know, maybe not, but we'll see how it works out for OTP here as far as the lane setup goes. In fact, there we go. A lot of aggression right off the bat on a Prophet, and holy crap, they burst him down to really about a third of his life, if not lower. So, hey, they're showing that they got some damage output, that's for sure.
They do have the damage, and it's great. I mean, I just talked about the Luna Hammerstorm lane. it synergizes very well. It's just a matter of can they get the farm now. Now, Luna's doing a lot of harassing, kind of missing some CS in the meantime, but definitely getting that harassed. And that's what I talked about. I'm not sold on the Dampier pick. I think Dampier could have been a much better hero. Yes, he does have good burst potential once he gets those spells up, but early on, actually, early aggression onto Mega Beaver, and he does go down, so right there, the spells coming into play. Luna and Hammerstorm doing so much damage, so right now, it doesn't matter, I guess, that they're not getting farmed because they're farming heroes.
Exactly. Well, that's great point. I mean, the fact that, you know, we can sit here and argue the fact that it seems like Luna is going to be the one taking the creep kills over Hammerstorm, but in the end, this is still, as you put it, a very deadly combination, and whether or not whoever's getting the farm doesn't matter. They still have their abilities to use. They still have their combo to pull off, and as we saw right there, Prophet stood zero chance. I mean, the Hammerstorm stun, it's a decent range in it, as you can see. In fact, what is the range on that? It's 600 range. That's not bad at all. All the way through. I don't believe it levels up as you level it up. No, it stays at 600, I want to say. Anyways, so yeah, good range on there, and obviously a great amount of burst damage coming out. Enough for the kill. So look at the middle lane, though. Let's take a look at the other lanes that are currently taking place. We talked a little bit about the top side, the War Beast versus Soul Reaper matchup. As you put it, it seems like Tijori here on Soul Reaper should have a fairly good time, and so far he's 8-2 compared to a 5-2 War Beast, but even already harassing the tower a little bit now. So Soul Reaper is having a good time here at the top lane.
Yeah, he's having a good time, and War Beast, of course, is only down to one piece of regen, that one Tree Eater. I will say now, this whole idea of dual laning mid, jungle, suicide, short lane, it works only if you do win that mid lane. And it's, of course, you come into that problem where what if the other team does the same exact thing? Well, they're pretty much doing the same exact thing. They have the same exact idea. They have a suicide. They have a strong dual lane mid. They have a jungler. It's not as strong as a Tempest. Like Parasite's not as strong as a Tempest. It does have that good ganky potential, but their lane mid just wins. Like there's no question that Hammerstorm and Luna, regardless of who's getting the farm, beats a Dampier Prophet.
Well, yeah, look at what Warbeast is doing too. Look at his build. He actually has 2 levels in a battle cry. So this is a very interesting thing that would also help make him a great suicide role in the sense that he's still being very beneficial to his team by just spamming that W ability. I mean, I constantly hear it go off, and it made me realize, yeah, he's leveling that up for now, and you see the red hands glowing on every single hero here on the Legion side as a result of that. So their damage is getting increased as a result of better harassment, you know, more efficient creep kills, and even some tower damage perhaps as a result of that. So yeah, that's another thing to think about when you're talking about a suicide Warbeast here.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't, I can't really talk too much on that because I never see Suicide Warbeast. I don't know, like the quote-unquote correct build, but I imagine it's working out well. And especially when you have hero like this aggressive lane in mid, you're able to pop that that battle cry and then give your team extra 22 damage. That's very strong. It definitely helps out a lot.
Yeah, I mean, if he decides to max it out, we're gonna be looking at 44.
It's 8
so.
Oh, wait, no, it's Hero. Heroes is the top one. Okay.
And Allied Heroes,
The units is the, okay, I get
units is the less, Luna, man, actually, look at the bottom lane. Bubbles taking a lot of pressure right here. Parasite coming in the shell surf. Will it be enough for Bubbles? Yes, it will. He'll survive, but the harassment, clearly a lot down here at the bottom lane. Parasite, that's the second time I believe he's going to come in to really let Bubbles know that he's nearby and make him life difficult. Now, granted, Bubbles is level 4, and he's also 11-3, so honestly, that seems like he's actually doing not too bad. Considering the circumstances, so props to Ultimate Defend right there. But in the end, Forsaken Archer, being played by Fuzi here, is having the better time. 20-10 creep farm now, as he's currently farming 270 gold per minute.
Yeah. The main thing I'm looking at right now is the Soul Reaper versus Warbeast lane. I feel like Soul Reaper should be doing a little bit better. Yeah, he is 20-9 and definitely leading in the creep farm department, but I feel like he needs to be doing a lot better, especially against a hero like Warbeast. He has no escape mechanism. He doesn't have stuns. He can't heal himself or anything like that. He's bought some regen, and he's going to be able to stay up in this lane until he hits level 6 and maybe look for a gank or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Soul Reaper should be doing a little bit better in this lane. Nonetheless, still getting good farm.
Oh, middle lane in the meantime. Prophet, will he drop the Galvanized use? Yes, he will. Dampier decided to Vampiric Flight onto a Luna, and that may have cost him his life right here. Great hero blocking coming out from Snooey on Hammerstorm. Power throw is not going to be up. Not enough mana. Doesn't matter, though. The final auto attacks do the job, and Dampier goes down as well. We are now looking at a 3-0 hero kill advantage in favor of the Legion team. I must say, though, I mean, Dampier, that was a very risky move on his part, and it clearly proved to work out well for OTP in the end. So a little bit of a misplay there.
Well, even on top of that, like you mentioned, the Battle Cry, which is level 3 right now, he didn't even get level 3 Hellhounds. Yeah. But that gave them extra, 33 damage? So every single attack from both of them is extra 33 damage. That's a lot.
It is, yeah. Like I said, I mean, it's not something we see often by any means, but in fact, ever, really. But hey, it's you got to give props to OTP here. You know, we brought up the big question mark. They had the chance to pick up play. Grotter seems like he's your more usual go-to suicide role. Hell, they went War Beast. They wanted to try something new, something different. It's working so far, I must say that. So 6 minutes into the game, we see Aluna actually picking up a double damage rune, running into Prophet. Prophet may drop her here. Power throw will connect, and there goes the dead bird right there. Mega Beaver not having the greatest time, unfortunately. Apparently his mouse disconnected. That's never a good time. It did seem like he was kind of in an odd place, but Storyfooter took advantage. Can't blame him, of course.
Nope.
He is hitting for 168 damage right now with that double damage and Warcry. We see Dampier, though, going to be fine taking the stun, but man, the pressure is aggressive. How about this, though? PUDG getting some signs of life, pushing the top tower in the meantime.
Yeah, the golden experience is not crazy by any means. I mean, they're still sitting in just a little bit under 500, so it's basically even. I will say the fact that they have a Tempest over a Parasite, and since Parasite hasn't really been able to get any effective ganks off, tried once bottom with the Wild Hunter, but it's really hard against the Bubbles. That is the saving grace for this Hellborn team. It's just the Tempest is such a stronger pick, in my opinion, when you're farming than Parasite.
Yeah, speaking of Tempest, of course, the minions are out pushing this top tower. We did see Hammerstorm running in, and that's going to be enough to scare them at least as far as falling back. The Replicants come out, but ooh, Soul Reaper taking a stun right there. Not nearly enough damage by any means, but kind of just letting them know what's up. So farming the creep waves with that stun perhaps, and trying to keep them stalled and postponed as much as possible, because this tower is actually dropping pretty fast. And this is going to be interesting. Will the Legion team, how many resources will they put into defending this tower? We do see they push the bottom tower in the meantime, so Parasite and Forsaken Archer accomplish that, as well as Aluna running to the bottom secondary tower, and Tempest, Soul Reaper are going to fall back. Probably the smart decision. It seemed like the Legion team was ready to defend, and it is just out of deny range, so yeah, definitely the correct decision there coming out from Soul Reaper and Tempest. And PUDG is going to play safe, but tower kill in favor of One Trick Pony. The goalie now looking at about 1,800, so it is going up a little bit here early on. Yeah,
they really smartly backed off right there. They had Luna transitioning to the top. You had a TP even on Forsaken Archer, also Parasite. Actually, more mid-aggression. Dampier taking a lot of damage from this Hammerstorm and Luna composition. And another stun comes out. The ultimate from Dampier saved him for a little bit. Some aggression coming on to Hammerstorm. One more auto attack. Can he get it? Yes, he with 20 HP. He lives. And now Prophet is taking a lot of damage. The stun coming out. Prophet dies. There's a stun. Hammerstorm wants to man up even with his little low HP. And actually, Tempest is going to fall too. He does end up getting the kill on the Hammerstorm, though.
Yeah, well, the Hammerstorm, he went and ran to the tower at the last second, and it actually aggroed him. So he died to the tower. It wasn't even necessary from what I could tell. But anyways, a hat trick coming out for Storyfooter, playing Aluna. And Aluna is off the wall right now as far as farm.
Yeah.
But you said it. I mean, hell, he'll just farm heroes. He's 6-0-1 right now. Dampier ports in. Dampier dropping quickly. He's forced to use a consume right there. Not even getting a kill. Look at the damage output. Aluna has another power throw, a red one in 5 seconds. Dampier needs to get that life up. He does have some bottle charges, and it looks like he will be fine for now. So Aluna not even going to be necessary to use it, but holy crap. 6-0-1 Aluna, 440 gold per minute. She already has a Grave Locket with a charge on it. She has Ghost Marchers, and another 1,200 gold saved up on top of that. We do see actually Parasite running in right here, running into a little bit of trouble. Tempest does have an ultimate ready to go. Parasite going to run into the trouble. He'll fall. There's the initiation on a Prophet, though. One round of attack will do him in. And again, Aluna hitting for 148 damage with that battle cry. That is level 4. So getting plus 44 from that. Tempest now in a little bit of trouble. Again, he does have the ultimate if they want to try to turn this around. Ports are coming in. Dampier goes in. Are we going to see Tempest's ultimate? Are we going to see Tempest's ultimate? Yes, he'll try to pull it in. He gets 2 heroes right there. Can they turn this around? Sorry for in the midst of it all. He has another heal bomb coming up. He's going to use it right there. There's a couple of kills. Down goes Hammerstorm in Forsaken Archer. And that's the power of Soul Reaper right there. Not only the damage output, but the turnaround. Dampier stays alive against War Beast. And PUDG, no doubt, just kept themselves very slow in this game. But holy crap, Aluna barely takes out Soul Reaper. Parasite comes into the last second, finishes off Bubbles. And I maybe got a little bit too ahead of myself, because at the very last second, the Legion team kind of cleans up. The tower does get denied. What a fight, though, in the middle lane.
My God, already 16 hero kills in only 10 minutes, so this is a very aggressive lane. Actually, Aluna, more aggression might come out. Parasite does have a face hug and an ulti. Aluna sitting in invis. Yeah, don't even need that power snipe. I was going to use it anyway, but wow, so much aggression. I mean, look at their lineup. Parasite, Aluna, Hammerstorm. They're constantly spamming their abilities, and like you mentioned, that battle cry is doing so much work, giving so much damage to Aluna specifically.
Aluna has been involved in every single kill. They have 12 hero kills 10 minutes into the game. She is 8-0-4. That is ridiculous. Storyfooter making some big plays here for one-trick punny, no doubt. But in the meantime, I mean, while that was all happening, again, this is the cool thing about Warbeast, especially with the way that he's playing him. Yeah, sure, he wasn't in that fight. I mean, he still has 0 assists, but he was pressing that, he was spamming that W, and that no doubt was having a huge effect for the Legion team in their favor. Plus 44 damage to everyone else. I know you were just talking about that, but again, just to reiterate, it's ridiculous what he's actually doing for the team, not even being there. I mean, that global presence, not something you usually think about when you think Warbeast, to be honest, but hey, it is no doubt working out well here for the Legion side. So, Tablet of Command has already been finished on Aluna. Again, we're only 11.5 minutes into the game. She has a very solid core here early on. So you look at the Hellborn team right now, trying to find some positive notes for PUDG coming out. I mean, they got some decent things going. They got Tempest. He's got a solid farm, 280 gold per minute, has that Ring of Sorcery, has red boots. He got Soul Reaper, has some early items, you know, some initial investments, got the investments, has the Steam Boots. But it's no doubt looking much better right now for our Legion team here in OTP.
Yeah, and normally I'm not a big fan of the tablet. I mean, actually, Forsaken Archer ulting these Tempest illusions right there. Or not illusions, but elementals and getting some farm right there. But normally I'm not the biggest fan of Pushbook, but when you get it this early and you already have those core items being Grave Locket and Phase Boots, it's fine. Like, it's going to provide so much utility in team fights early on, so I actually really like that pickup.
Yeah, that's going to be a huge tool for them. And now something that we see before as well is whenever we happen to see Aluna be more of a focus of a farm early on, you know, Astrolabe tends to be a popular item as well, so I'm curious if that's maybe something she likes to invest into. We do see initiation attempt on a Dampier, but that might have been a troublesome move. Pebbles with the counter. The Kelfield comes out, and down goes Aluna right there. So very good turnaround coming out as Dampier showing off his burst damage. So Storyfooter, he's powerful, man, but he's not unstoppable, as we saw right there. And PUDG will gladly take a much-needed kill right there on him. And actually, they must have got a crazy gold streak, huh? Yeah, Payless got 545 gold from that, stopping that streak. So that's huge, actually. Yeah,
that's huge. The good thing, though, is it's not like all the eggs are in the Aluna basket.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you still have Warbeast, who's farming up quite nicely, actually, and Forsaken Archer, obviously, your carry for the late game. Still doing a good job sitting, and actually, wow, 400 gold per minute. So I think he just cleared out some stacks right there in the Ancients. So, yeah, you have a number of things to work with. And on top of that, on top of the hard carry, you have lots of good stuns on your team, too. Aluna, that, if you get the Emerald Lightning on that, if it's, you know, 4 levels into that, on top of that Emerald Red stun, you get a 5-second stun that's bouncing to targets. That's really, really strong utility in team fights. So they have a number of great things working for them. Now, Hellborn, I do say I love Soul Reaper. I really think the hero is good. And as you mentioned before, Tempest is a hero that can really change games in just a, you know, just a snap.
I like to say, man, hey, they could be down by 25,000 gold in experience. If you have a Tempest, if you still have your racks in a Tempest, I think you still have a chance. So that's the good news for PUDG. But no doubt this is a better start for OTP. You know, kind of as you're going through there to look at it even further. I mean, Forsaken Archer, Whispering Helm was her item of choice, and that's, you know, that helped her even enhance her early farm more. And that's, of course, you know, a type of item that kind of declares that they're fine, you know, taking this into that mid to eventually the later game stage. Definitely have the stronger team when it's all said and done with that. So Warbeast 15, nearly 1,600 gold saved up. Again, the fact that they had 12 hero kills now for a while here, and he still has, he's 0-1-0, so he hasn't even been involved in at least his, you know, damage output sense, but he's just been farming away. He has the Abyssal Skull, 1,700 plus gold saved up. In fact, there we go, right click on Steam Boot, so he will have that delivered and going to be able to take benefit from that. But so now, if you're PUDG, what is your goal right here now? You know, calming things down, getting farm on Soul Reaper, maybe some initiation tool on Dampier. I mean, what are you looking for?
They need to get some core items on Soul Reaper for sure. Maybe Dampier as well. Maybe just make Dampier a little bit more tanky, because right now he's not farming at the rate he needs to be. And that's why I'm saying, actually, I'm just not sold on him. Actually, Bubbles gets dove right here to Hammerstorm. He's going to find a kill. And actually, Soul Reaper TP's in the volley on top of the ultimate, doing so much damage. Soul Reaper goes down as well. Mega Beaver's in a lot of trouble as well. Just dying one after another. So much burst coming out from this Legion team. There goes Dampier. Actually gets caught by the stun AoE from Hammerstorm. There's the volley. Now he's in a lot of trouble, and he will fall. Hat trick coming out for Fuzi.
What just
this
happened?
Is falling apart for PUDG.
Oh my gosh! As Snooey says, oh my God, that stun. Talk about perfect timing right there. That was.
It was unintentional.
I believe it wasn't intentional. Yeah, I was just gonna say. I mean, I'm sure Snooey's a great player. I'm sure, but man, that was just epic timing on his part. The fact that it stunned Dampier. Dampier was no doubt going to kill him right there. And the thing you have to keep in mind, not only would Dampier gotten a kill, but he would have gotten 3 charges from that. He would have been full life. So yeah, that would have been huge. But the fact that he got stunned at the last second completely turned that around. But I mean, even before that, the bubbles catch in itself, it was very well played. I happened to be watching it the whole time. Hammerstorm did an excellent job of anticipating the shell surf port and eventually went to the port spot and auto-attacked him right as he did to finish him off. Then obviously we saw Profit, just unfortunate timing for him. So yeah, that really just fell apart completely because a tower kill happens on top of that. We are now 16 minutes, 20 seconds into this game just about. We are already all of a sudden at a 10,000 gold lead on top of a 6,700 experience lead. So you were kind of just talking about, what can PUDG do to slowly start creeping back into this game and getting some momentum themselves. But, man, after that, that hurts.
Yeah, they still need their core items. Like, Tempest absolutely needs Blink. Did go for that Astrolabe, but really needs Blink to really do anything in a team fight. You're going to have to catch them off guard. Right now you have nothing. You have maybe a Bubbles, but Dampier following up on that. It's just not enough damage right now. You're going to need to catch them off guard a little bit better. And what better way than Tempest Ultimate with Blink?
Yeah. So
you're going to also need a Barrier Idol or something like that on a Soul Reaper. Just make him tanky. I feel like right now the route to go is to just survive all the bursts and then sustain yourself in team fights. And that's going to be like Barrier Idol on Soul Reaper. That's going to be Helm of the Black Legion on Dampier.
We see the middle tower push, a vulnerability at the last second. Will it be denied? No, it will not. Tower goes down in the meantime, though the top tower goes down in favor of the Legion team. Oh, poor Storyfooter right here. He's running right on top of a Ward of Revelation. He had absolutely no clue. He was in Fist, thought he was safe for sure, but he was not. And that's big for PUDG. The fact that they get a kill onto him, they stop, or they don't stop a streak, but they get some nice bonus gold, of course, on top of the tower kill. And they're going to keep this going. Now, that, like I said, the top tower was destroyed by the Legion team in the process, but Aluna's down for another 25 seconds. She can buy back, but this is a fairly early buyback, and it really puts the question if you want to invest into doing so. So PUDG, this is a chance to definitely take advantage right here. We got Hammerstorm diving out quite a bit right there. In the end, though, he is going to start falling back, and it looks like PUDG is also going to start retreating. But it seems like our Legion team actually, one-trick pony, they might want to even chase and try to keep a fight going here. But I believe PUDG is going to start falling back as a team, and they are going to be fine when it's all said and done. So interesting exchanging going on right there. Firebrand, by the way, has now been finished on Forsaken Archer.
Yeah, I will say good job by PUDG retreating in as a team. I mean, there's nothing worse than someone just TPing, I'm going to go farm, and then the rest of the team's like, okay, and then they get caught out.
Yeah.
So they were making sure they're all safe as they all retreat as a team, and that was a good job by them.
Mega Beaver's still level 6, by the way. I saw that happen to be just browsing through the levels, and holy crap, he is getting under-leveled like a boss here. He actually doesn't even have his ultimate. He chose to pass up Shared Fate at level 6. He does have the 1 level into Invigorate, 2 into Persecution, and then 3 into Debilitate. So, especially being under-leveled, I mean, yeah, what do you make of that? That seems like, I don't know, Shared Fate seems pretty powerful.
I mean, we've already seen today the Prophet Tempest combination, and it does a lot of damage, but you can only do that, obviously, with Prophet's ultimate. And, I mean, it does wonders in itself, even if you're not doing all that damage or have a spell like the Elemental Void to set it all up. It still gives you a lot of slow. It's a 50% tapering slow for 3 seconds, and that's good in itself. So, and it's a relatively low mana cost. It's only 75. The cooldown is very low as well. Well, you can cast it twice, I think, at level 2. So that's a level 11. But yep, he actually does level it up at level 7. So good for him.
Yeah, he has it now. So that's the good news. It didn't necessarily have a huge effect there, I guess, in that process. So you mentioned Tempest. I mean, him getting a portal key, how important that would be for the Hellborn team, but he also said he went the Astrolabe first. He's finished his Plate of Greaves. He has a major totem now picked up. So, I mean, he seems like he's passing up the portal key altogether. I'm guessing the major totem maybe going to be something like a Tablet of Command here. So, is that something you can see working, or would you just rather prefer to see him the portal key?
I think the portal key needs to be purchased. Even if you do have... I mean, there's a lot of talk of like, well, there's so many different ways to counter it, or you can still, even if I get a Shrunken Head on Tempest, Parasite can still cancel it. I still think having that Blink is effective. But he is quite tanky right now, and that, like I'm saying, in general, that's how they have to build their team, is make themselves tanky. They have heals from Soul Reaper, they have a heal from Prophet as well. Also, when you put it on top of that Shared Fate, it's going to propagate to everyone, all your allies that are in it. And that's good in itself. On top of the Astrolabe that Tempest has, it's not a bad strategy that they're running right here. Right now, they just need to group up, and that's what they're doing.
Yeah, you know, kind of just working off that portal key discussion, though, just a little bit. It seems like we may have a fight coming up. But it also forces the other team to play different no matter what. I mean, and knowing that he does have a portal key. But anyways, we do see some initiation chance. A portal key going to be used by Hammerstorm right there away, as we see Archie Tiger on Parasite coming out of the creep and falling back. Tempest in a little bit of trouble. Nice Hammerstorm's coming. Here we go. Warbeast with the ulti form. They're shrunken it on top of that. Can Tempest make something happen? He's already face like Willie ultimate. Maybe turns this around. There's the Tempest ultimate. Here's our chance now for the Hellboy. In the meantime, sorry for getting locked out, but Warbeast comes out of ulti form. Tempest is still alive. He's going to be powered though. Hammerstorm did fall in that exchange. Damn Pure though, he is just getting kited like a boss, and he'll eventually fall. Bubbles just running away. The damage is done. Bubbles, the sole survivor. They only killed Hammerstorm. Everyone else stays alive. So a great Tempest ultimate, but especially with Soul Reaper getting taken out like he was right there, wasn't going to happen. And GG, well played are being called. Seems like PUDG has had enough. So, I mean, I can understand, being frustrated, and I don't know about conceding just yet. But it's obviously their choice in the end. Now, it hasn't actually gone through just yet, so maybe it does seem like at least one of the players is not on the same boat. But, yeah, I don't know. It sucks. They are behind, and the chances of them winning is probably minimal at this point. But
yeah, I'm never a fan. Yeah, actually, there's the real conceit. They're like, they got Kongor too? Okay, yeah, this is over. I'm never a fan of early concedes, but in that instance, they were down, what, 16,000 at that time. And it would be different if they didn't have, say, Forsaken Archer. Like, say Forsaken Archer was someone different, like some other short lane, side lane hero that just can't really carry that much in the late game.
Yeah.
That would be different, but they also secured the late game with Warbeast. And so it's all those things. They're losing by that much to a heavy burst team that also has late game. Yeah, it is kind of over.
Now, what do you feel? I mean, do you think that was One Trick Pony playing very well, or did PUDG seem a little bit off that game to you?
I think it was a little bit of both, but honestly, they brought the aggression really early on in that lane. And it's kind of funny because PUDG were the ones to lock Warbeast, actually, but it seemed like OTP was playing as if that was their strategy the whole time. It really seemed to work out well for them, and it's something I've never seen before, but man, did it work.
You're right. You definitely got to give them props for that, and specifically who's playing that Warbeast? So Exhibit there for One Trick Pony. I mean, that strategy, again, really unheard of, but the fact that he played a Suicide Warbeast, his farm wasn't taking off by any means, but all he was doing is pressing W on his keyboard, and it had a huge impact. I guarantee you it had a huge impact in that game in the laning phase. So that was a lot of fun to watch, no doubt. Both teams brought up some interesting strategies, and obviously it just worked out well a lot better for One Trick Pony when it was all said and done. They looked very good. And man, so like I'm saying, I mean, this is a winner's bracket, so no matter what happens, you'll be going through the loser's bracket if you lose here. But PUDG is now down 1-0. One Trick Pony looking very, very good. So I'm sure we're going to get some kind of response, though, out of PUDG going into game number 2. So with that said, of course, we're going to take a quick break here, guys, and we'll be back. Game number 2, PUDG taking on One Trick Pony. Stay tuned.